What's up, guys, and welcome back to the next episode of the 2025 Mazda RX7 FD build series by Henry Pitzer and Speed Culture Channel. This episode, I'm actually just going to be jumping intake manifold and testing boost solenoids. So right now, currently, when I was driving it before, over time, it started at first just slightly having trouble transitioning from the first turbo to the second turbo. That happens at 4,500 RPM in this car. Over time on the dyno, you could see in a couple videos in the past, it would, especially foot to the floor, it would come up, it would teeter for way too long, and then the second turbo would come on. Believe that was a sign of a failing boost solenoid because eventually the second turbo stopped turning on at any point whatsoever. Okay guys, what you are looking at here is my intake manifold. We are going to remove it, so just want to grab first a couple things. I already pulled a couple of these things off. So this is the PVC pipe right on the back of the head right there. You're going to grab that. There is a ground coming off the back of the head as well. You're going to just grab that. It's grounded there. Just pull that off. There's a couple of lines. This went here, and then I got another one from here that went to the back of it. And I've just been labeling each thing that I might not remember will go back to its place very easily. These are pretty self-explanatory, but I'm doing it. So this is the breather box. We're going to pull the breather box. There's a bolt right there that you can pull off for that. It's all 10 millimeter for the most part. That'll pull off. Now you have this little bracket for these two solenoids here that are up against this. There's a bolt on there. You can just pull that off. I've already done that. So pull that off. Now I am just going to pull, there's a couple of, I think there's two lines here that I want to pull off of the head. That's this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy I'll pull off. I will pull the throttle body off so I can pull that off separate. And then the throttle body will come off next. I know that there is a coolant passage underneath that has to be undone, so you have to take that off when taking the throttle body off. And then there's just 4 bolts for the elbow. So I will do that now, and then I'll show you, point out any specific things. Oopsie. Okay guys, these are officially off. It was very straightforward. This is the first time I've ever done this, and I was able to do it pretty easily. You can see I struggled on a few little things like some unknown hoses. There's a hose that feeds, I guess, the coolant passage on the throttle body. That was really just stuck on there, so I just had to cut it off at one point. I knew I had a little bit of extra room with the hose that's there, and if I don't, I'll just replace it. No big deal. But yeah, just make sure that you mark everything, and you'll have these off in a jiff. I'm going to get these prepped to go get powder coated. So I take some photos before I remove all the extra stuff on it. And right now, before we get into all that, I'll put these together in a few upcoming episodes with the new intercooler kit when they get powder coated. But let's for now go over my vacuum hoses and go over my boost solenoids and just make sure everything looks good. So let me just show you how to do that now. Hey guys, okay, let's test some boost solenoids. So these are the easiest ones to get to. They are up top. These two actuate the turbos, and this is just for boost coming in. This is closest to the lower intake manifold, and this is closest to the alternator. So you're gonna want to supply 12 volts, whether it's with a battery or I use a power probe. So what I'm going to do is boost comes in through this side, and then it gets let out the other side. A lot of people use compressors for this, but it's like 6 pounds of pressure. I can supply that. So actuates perfectly when it gets 12 volts, so that has no problems. Let's move on to the next one. I've already tested that side, so let's forget that. Take that off. And now the same thing with the other solenoid. Works completely fine. So just an easy way to test it. Grab 12 volts somehow. Power probe's the easiest way to do that. And these two up top work completely fine, so I'm going to put them back in. But that means that one of my other solenoids is having an issue. So I'll show you what I have to pull apart to get to them. It's not the most fun thing in the world, but let's do it. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, the ones that I need to get are not that one, below that one down there. So that means this rail's got to come off, and I'm just going to leisurely do that and test those, and I will figure that out. Before we get any further, I do quickly want to show you why I am nice, comfy, and cozy in the garage right now, all closed up in the middle of winter in Charlotte. It's this sweet InoKraft propane heater that I can automatically set to a temperature, and then it holds that temp. It's actually really great. It's not too smelly. I keep a little bit of a vent in the garage when I'm actually using it. There's like a little bit of space there, maybe about an inch. And yeah, you just kind of set it up to a number, and old girl comes on. Sick. Yeah, you can see it's a little loud, but this thing jams and it keeps us warm in this winter, so I can play with this thing. So yeah. Side note, look, I got the OG records for the RX7 down almost back to 93 with every record and receipt and all the good stuff like from throughout the years. It's so cool just looking at the history, all the different Mazda motor rebuilds, and then Pettit Racing and all the parts and clutches and all the fun stuff. Very cool. Oh, also have the new middle piece that Jared sent me. So this thing, we're going to straight pipe it pretty much. And I just want to hear what it sounds like. We may not keep it. But yeah, okay. Let me start testing these and see where we're at. Okay guys, I've taken the 3 Phillips head bolts off of the top of the rat's nest, and I've decided I don't want to do this right now. So I'll continue that in next week's video about the speakers and amp install and running the ground wire from the front to the rear. And possibly interrupting that, we'll be putting the diff in this car tomorrow. That one. And I'm very excited about that. So maybe we'll go for a rip and get some cool footage in that thing. So we'll have one nice running car and while we do a build series on this thing. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you next week, and we'll further get into that, the speakers, the amp, and maybe that thing in between. Let's see. If you comment you want the IS, I'll make it happen. All right, guys. See you next week.